you put one away for safekeeping. The new MX-6 from the new Mazda.
Mazda, it just feels right.
Then again, who can wait that long?
On the season premiere of Law and Order, a pornographer's murdered. Stone wants a conviction, but a mother and daughter want revenge. Law and Order premieres NBC Wednesday.
Back at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Jim Lampley with Ahmad Rashad, 5:53 to go in the third. And Ahmad, we touched on the point a moment ago. Cincinnati has, through much of the game, been physically dominant, moving the football fluidly from time to time. But because of turnovers, penalties, and some Green Bay tenacity, the Packers are still in the game.
And I think the Packers are in the game because Cincinnati cannot do anything just to break that spirit, to make Green Bay think that they're not going to win this game. I'm sure right now they are still excited because they're in the game. All you want to do is stay in contention toward the fourth quarter and then have a chance to win it. They still have a chance at this point.
Johnny Holland is going to have some monster defensive numbers for the Packers at the end of the day. Another tackle there, already with 2 interceptions earlier in the game. And Harold Green is the running back who got 5 yards for the Bengals. Buckley and Billups at the corners for Green Bay. Pickens in motion. Green again with the football. Green trying to find the first down marker, and Buckley stops him 1 yard short. Brian Noble made the first hit, and Terrell Buckley closed the deal, and there's a Bengal player down on the field.
And the Bengals are awful slim at wide receiver. This could hurt them.
Well, we'll wait to see what this is and bring you back in a moment.
This is our vision of what a luxury sedan should be. Not because it offers rich leather and anti-lock brakes, but because it comes standard with an airbag on the driver's side and the passenger side as well, creating a luxury sedan where even peace of mind is shared. The new 929, the first luxury sedan from the new Mazda.
It just feels right.
How much insulation do you have in your attic? 3 inches? 6 inches? Well, the Department of Energy recommends R38 for most American homes, which is equivalent to a foot of Owens Corning pink fiberglass. So grab a ruler and measure your attic insulation. Then get rolling. And get a foothold on your energy bills. For more information, call 1-800-GET-PINK.
It isn't the night or even the fog that gets you. It's when the team leader puts you in charge for the first time. And you decide to drop right inside Alpha Team's backyard. That's when you find out how good you really are.
Watching from upstairs in a special booth is the other half of the 2-man team signed on to try to revive football glory in Green Bay. That's General Manager Ron Wolf, who ironically, Ahmad, comes out of the Raider organization.
You know what's so strange about that? If you think back about the Vince Lombardi times, there's no way that a Raider would be running a Green Bay football team.
Good fake by Esiason. Gets away from one man, almost throws another interception. It was Packer pass rusher Tony Bennett along with Matt Brock who got to Esiason and eventually forced the bad pass. But Boomer had plenty of time to do something before they got to him.
He certainly did. A lot of time to throw the ball and made a good job of not taking that sack. But getting back to Ron Wolf, he is one of the excellent football minds and says that he is trying to rebuild this football team and says it's going to take him about 3 years.
There's Bennett, there's Brock, there's the throw.
Speaking of 3 years, Boomer had almost 3 years to get that ball off.
That's right. That's Cincinnati's rebuilding process. We're going to rebuild on this play. He'll draft 4 players before Boomer throws this ball. Lee Johnson punting. Terrell Buckley stands at the 10-yard line for Green Bay. Packer defense getting another chorus of cheers for having stopped the Bengals. Powering punt. Buckley Lappley will let this go, and it sails over and into the end zone. 52-yarder to help Johnson pad his average once again. They'll bring it back out to the 20. Green Bay and Brett Favre will start from there when we come back.
A top fuel engine is really stressed when you can achieve 2,000 degrees in exhaust gas temperatures in 4 seconds. It brutalizes the oil. It literally tries to boil it. But Pennzoil has always stood up to that test. It's not only in the race car, it's in all of our street cars, it's in our 18-wheeler, it's in our boat at home, it's in our air compressors, and it's in our generators. And I feel very good about knowing that Pennzoil is in there doing the best job possible for us. Pennzoil, performance, protection, quality.
A better way to catch your Z's is on Sealy's Posturepedic Sleep System. Designed to conform to your shape. Distribute your weight evenly, comfortably. Only Sealy Posturepedic has it. So for a better night's sleep, better sleep on a Sealy.
Right now, get up to a $75 rebate direct from Sealy.
Dean Witter believes every investor's success story is unique. From getting in on the ground floor to getting all the way to the top, Dean Witter can help you make it every step of the way.
We measure success one investor at a time.
One oil filter traps 80% more dirt than the leading competitor. Clearly, that's Motorcraft. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
Back at Lambeau Field, so you'd think Lombardi might have vetoed this one, huh, Ahmad?
Yeah, I just don't see those two philosophies of football having any sort of a mix. But now it's a new day, and Ron Wolf, I guarantee you, knows how to put a football team together.
There's the name of Lombardi, one of 18 names displayed around the rim of the stadium. All of them Green Bay Packer figures who are in the Professional Football Hall of Fame. Mike Holmgren, 3 years offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, hired by Ron Wolf, the general manager you saw, to revive Packer fortunes on the field. Brett Favre, a Ron Wolf personal choice as a quarterback, completes down the middle to Sanjay Beach. Eric Thomas with the coverage, but it'll be first down for the Packers across the 30 to 31-yard line.
You have to really be impressed with the Packers' intensity. They're still playing hard. When you talk about rebuilding, inside of a locker room, all of a sudden it's like it's very hard to keep these players playing hard when really you might not have all the pieces to the puzzle yet out there saying that you can win the game. But these guys are still playing hard, and Favre is the kind of quarterback on a rebuilding team that comes up and going to keep your offense going at all times.
Favre under pressure, delivers down the middle, complete to Ed West. Alex Gordon of Cincinnati there to make the hit. Flags are down as Daniel Stubbs was there to put the late knock on Brett Favre. Was it too late? We'll see.
No, I think it was a face mask call. Looked like he caught his hand in the face mask on the way down.
I think it'll be an Alex Gordon face mask, huh?
Face mask. Defense. Number 58. The 5 yards will make it a first down.
Well, Ahmad, you have answered the toss-up question correctly. Now on to the bonus.
What is the bonus? I'll take the bonus for 300. Right at the end of this play, you see Gordon get his hand caught up in that face mask and just doesn't get it out in time, therefore getting the face mask penalty.
One-time high draft choice of the New York Jets. Picked up by the Bengals under Plan B. Remember Plan B?
Yeah, it's history now. They're on to Plan C now, I think, aren't they?
It is history. Plan C presently being devised. One setback for the Pack on first down 10. Buford McGee with the football, and McGee pounds forward for about 3 yards across the 45 to the 46-yard line. Clock winding down on the third quarter. Lamar Rogers made the stop for Cincinnati, and the Packers still in the football game. Can do serious damage if they can get a score on this drive.
And Brett Favre becoming more and more comfortable at quarterback here. You saw him throw a lot of balls, overthrew a lot of balls in the first half. Here he's been very accurate in this second half. He's got a different little walk when he comes out of that huddle.
Now the strategy of yanking Mikowski at halftime last week in a lost game and giving Favre a chance to play against the Buccaneers looks like a piece of genius on Holmgren's part.
It really does. I think what Holmgren is saying by that is our team is not set by any means. You know, anybody can get pulled. We're just trying to find the pieces to put together here to get us a winning football team. Every position is up for grabs, including the position of quarterback.
And they wanted Favre to get a little playing time.
Without question.
With an eye toward what could conceivably happen down the road. And 1 week later down the road, it did happen.
And Ron Wolf was, you know, he couldn't hide the enthusiasm he had for Brett Favre. He really likes this young man.
Now Favre operates on 3rd down 7. Need to get the football into Bengal territory for a first down. And number 31, Darrell Williams, separates Favre from the football. Stubbs again tries to pick it up. This time it is number 56, Ricardo McDonald, who finally possesses the ball, and the Bengals will have it at the Green Bay 29. Well, you live and die with somebody like Brett Favre.
Well, one of the things they wanted to do, you don't want to get in a passing situation against this Bengals defense because you know they're going to be coming at you from all over everywhere. And right here, you see Darrell Williams come in and make this sack. And that's one of the situations Green Bay didn't want to get in that situation, want to keep running the ball and not have to have a drop back pass, because once they did that, then all of a sudden all the pressure's on your front line because you got to pick up all the blitzes. And you, from watching film, you know that them blitzes come from everywhere.
First down at the 29-yard line. Esiason with a chance to get a little breathing room for Cincinnati. Bengals unbeaten in the early season. Boomer throws in the flat. And it's complete to Brian Brennan, number 83, the gutty possession receiver out of Boston College. Gets it down near the 15-yard line before Lewis Billups, number 22, made the stop for Green Bay.
Brian Brennan has always been one of my favorite receivers because he catches with his hands. He's got excellent hands, always catches that ball outside of his body.
You and Doug Flutie. He was one of Flutie's favorite receivers back at BC.
I like
his first down, Harold Green.
I like Brian more than I did Flutie. There's Brian Brennan, used to play for the Cleveland Browns. Excellent, as you mentioned, possession receiver, runs great routes, has excellent hands, and a fearless receiver. Will go inside and make the grab.
Yeah, if you get the ball into his area code, he's a good bet to catch it. Second down, 11 after the loss of 1 on first down. Brennan in motion. Esiason with another play fake. Plenty of time. Corner of the end zone. Touchdown. Number 42, Eric Ball, was the man who made the release out of the backfield, and I would have to guess that is receiver number 3 or 4 on the pattern.
Well, he had a chance to look at receivers 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 before he picked out number 4 to fire that ball to. Here you see Esiason, great line blocking up front. Esiason able to survey the entire field before throwing a perfect strike to Eric Ball. And I think that may be his longest reception on the longest completion on the year for Boomer Esiason.
Yeah, it's about an 18 or 19 yarder, which is as far as he's been with a completion this year. Bryce Park is the man who was beaten on the coverage. Awfully tough for your outside linebacker to cover a back that far downfield. And Jim Breach adds the point after to stretch the Cincinnati lead now to 17-3. With a minute 31 to go in the third. Hey, good to see Tim McGee up and walking around after he had been prone on the field a few moments ago. So with McGee looking healthy, with Esiason suddenly with a slightly healthier scoreboard outlook, the Bengals take a 2-touchdown lead with 1:31 to go in the third. Well, Ahmad, next Sunday, NBC Sports will present an action-packed NFL doubleheader, beginning at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time with NFL Live. Then many of our viewers will see a classic football rivalry renewed as comeback kid John Elway and the Denver Broncos face the Cleveland Browns. Others will see the AFC champion Bills clashing with the Patriots. And in the second half of the doubleheader, some of our viewers will see the Steelers take on these Packers. Others will see the Dolphins battling the Seahawks. We remind you to check your local listings. You and I, Mr. Rashad, will be in Seattle for the Dolphins and the Seahawks.
You know, one of the things that I've never been able to figure out, no matter how badly the New England Patriots play, they always play Buffalo tough. Always. One of the strange things that happen in sports. They could be 0-5, but they'll go in there and give Buffalo a tough run for their money.
3 plays, 29 yards, 1 minute and 8 seconds on the touchdown drive following the Brett Favre fumble after he was blasted on the safety blitz by Darrell Williams. And now on the kickoff, Jonathan Brooks takes the football, confers for a moment with his blocking back, and gets it out across the 20. Edgar Bennett was the man who bumped into Jonathan Brooks, and we go to Bob Costas in New York.
And Lamps, the Eagles continue to pour it on against the Broncos. It's now 27-0. Randall Cunningham's third TD throw of the day. Calvin Williams makes the catch, sprints between the defenders, 49-yard touchdown. Williams has scored twice. For the year, Cunningham has 8 TDs and hasn't been intercepted yet. Eagles 27, Broncos 0.
All right, thanks very much, Bob. The Eagles look near perfect in early season, Ahmad.
Randall Cunningham, one of the most exciting players that come into this league in many moves.
Herschel Walker's new best friend
is back.
And you're going to have an offside penalty against Green Bay as Favre tries to get it going on first down.
This is where Green Bay has to really be careful to not have it all fall apart on them. We were talking earlier about how they had stayed in the game, played pretty even with Cincinnati. Now they're down 17-3.
Defense, number 94, 5-yard penalty.
And I jumped the gun on the penalty call, Ahmad. Let's call it against Cincinnati instead.
Well, even though they got the penalty, that was an ugly-looking play. It looked like people were going the wrong direction. I mean, you still got to have some continuity in your offense. So we'll give the penalty to Cincinnati and give, I don't know what we give to Green Bay for that ugly play.
We give them the Sarah Bernhardt Award for inducing Cincinnati to jump offside with a bizarre start to the play. Favre, with another one of those play fakes 3 feet away from the running back, loses the football again. This time manages to get hold of it. Alfred Williams was there to make the hit for the Cincinnati Bengals, and a flag is down once again.
It appeared as though we had a late hit by the Bengals on Favre. He was already down on the ground, and he's going to learn when to take a sack, you know, and when to get rid of the ball. Very dangerous walking around there, scrambling around with that ball hanging out.
More and more in this league, it seems to me, year after year, quarterbacks who haven't had a lot of playing time have trouble holding on to the football in the pocket.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the defense. 15 yards, first down.
Well, this is one way to mount a drive. 2 penalties in a row against the Bengals.
There's Favre, as you see him with the ball fake. Now he's looking downfield, trying to find a receiver. Can't find one, and then the ball gets knocked out of his hands. He's just lucky that that ball bounces right back to him. If we stay on it, we'll see right there is the late hit. It's a little bit late, and therefore they get the 15-yard penalty. But Favre living and learning.
I think more and more defensive coordinators are schooling their players, particularly on the pass rush, to be alert to that possibility of knocking the ball out.
And you know what? The defensive linemen are becoming such better and better athletes that they're able to do that. They're not one-dimensional guys. They're guys that have a lot of athletic ability that even though they got somebody trying to block on them, they're still able to reach out and try to knock that ball down.
6 Cincinnati sacks now in the football game have cost Green Bay 43 yards. And now the officials, under the supervision of referee Dick Hantak, are having a midfield meeting to talk about the spotting of the football after that roughing the passer, or actually unnecessary roughness, personal foul penalty against the Bengals.
They're either talking about that or their flight schedule after the game, one or the other.
Well, I wonder if this discussion has to do with do we penalize from the point of the foul, or do we penalize from the original line of scrimmage? And it has to do, I'm guessing, with the question of whether possession went into a state of flux when the ball was knocked out of Favre's hands.
And 10.
Yep, and I talked over Hantak.
All he said was 1st and 10.
1st and 10, I could have figured that one out. Good, all right. Ball at the 41-yard line for Green Bay after a philosophical discussion of football by the officiating crew. Favre again loses the snap. Loose football. Sooner or later, you're going to give it up on one of these.
Favre just not able to get away from that center fast enough because there's a guard pulling, and just as Favre took the snap, he didn't get away fast enough. The guard knocked the ball right out of his hand. That's just not enough experience. If you watch right here, watch number 57, right there, bam. Can't find the ball. Just you need a lot of repetition in trying to run this offense. because these are the things that just, the only positive plays they've had are penalties. They've had about 3 or 4 ugly plays that do nothing for the confidence of the offense.
And you got a real problem on the exchange here, as you have an inexperienced quarterback who has not played a great deal with the center, and the center is occupying himself trying to block Tim Crumry, who is having a whale of a game across the line from him. This time, Favre pulls it down and gets a couple of yards running, and that is going to be the end of the third quarter. With an increasingly uncertain Green Bay team trailing, we'll be back after these messages from your station.
One step into this paradise will be your last. Kathy Ireland, Danger Island, NBC Tonight.
When you say spirit of Wisconsin, I think of people, because Northeast Wisconsin is all about people. People here celebrate life. The flip side, when there's something terrible going on, like a missing person, people gather together to help one another. There is a real spirit of life in Northeast Wisconsin for the good times and for the bad times. And that spirit comes out in people.
What do you say? What do you say?
The other day, I gave my son $1 for his allowance. He looked at me and said, "What's this, the tip?" So I took it back and brought it to Burger King. And they gave me a delicious flame-broiled double cheeseburger for 99 cents. Imagine that, 99 cents. Which meant I had a penny left over. So I gave it to my son. He asked, "What's this?" I said, "Your allowance." The kid needed an attitude adjustment.
You're ready right away at Burger King now.
It's a great time for a good buy on Chevy. But on September 23rd, say goodbye to some of the greatest buys ever on Chevy trucks and Geos. Goodbye to the best incentives of the year, like $1,500 cash back on Lumina. Goodbye to full-size Chevy pickups at 2.9% APR, saving you almost $3,000 in financing. Goodbye to Geos at up to $1,500 cash back. S10 Blazers at $2,000 cash back. These good buys end September 23rd, so hurry. See any of your 35 Chevy super dealers today before it's too late.
E.T. weeknights at 6:30 on The Source.
As we come back to Lambeau Field in Green Bay, the Packers, beaten 31-3 by Tampa Bay last week, have now gone 7 quarters in a row without a touchdown, and they get ready for the adventure of another James Campen to Brett Favre center snap.
Very hard to win a football game you don't score a touchdown.
It's 3rd down 9 from the 41-yard line. They negotiate the center snap. Favre rolls out, throws back across the field, and almost has an interception for his trouble. As Rod Jones, number 25, has hands on the football. There's a scuffle. There are flags down again in the backfield near where Favre threw the ball. Danny Stubbs.
You made the point a little while ago about James Campen having to snap that ball. And, you know, people don't understand all the things that the center has to do. He's got to remember the snap count. He's got to make the line calls on the defense there. He's got to deliver the ball, make sure the quarterback gets it, and then block Crumry. That's too much. That's too much. It's enough just trying to block Crumry.
And when you first came into the league?
Oh, boy, they had Dick Butkus. They didn't have a nose tackle. They'd take the middle linebacker, like somebody like Dick Butkus. And
Unsportsmanlike act. A chop block. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
And Dick Butkus would just beat up the center. I remember when I was playing for St. Louis, Butkus made our center quit. We'd call a play on 3, and the center would just snap it as soon as he touched it and said, "Hey, if anybody else wants to go in there and hold that ball to 3, be my guest."
Another happy memory for Dick Butkus.
One of the greatest players ever.
Now McJulian prepares to kick to Carl Pickens, and Pickens waits at his 15-yard line. High, hanging kick. Bouncing inside the 10, and it's going to go on into the end zone. Packers just couldn't get their hands on it as Roland Mitchell looked to down it at the end of the 58-yard boot for Paul McJulian. Tonight, it's an all-time, all-new Secret Service based on the actual cases. An undercover agent is tempted by the woman he is trying to bust. Then, on an all-new eyewitness video, see incredible footage of a woman who survived a whale attack, followed by an NBC world premiere movie starring Kathy Ireland, Danger Island, tonight on NBC.
Survived a whale attack, huh?
Mm-hmm. And we're not referring to a diet plan. That's Brett Favre, who's had a little bit of a rough day on the sideline.
There's no telling who he's got on the phone.
Boomer Esiason, 9 of 15. Throws in the flat. Eric Ball, who caught the touchdown pass on the last possession, goes out of bounds, flags down deep in the defensive secondary of Green Bay.
It looked like a holding or a pushing penalty against Green Bay. I mean, against Cincinnati. And Cincinnati, this is not. They have not played real good football, but it doesn't matter. They're ahead 17-3.
Pass interference on the offense. Number 87, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
Well, if you're going to contend for a division title in this league, and the Bengals are tied atop the AFC Central at 2-0 coming in, you're going to have to win occasionally on days when you don't play your best football.
That's exactly. And the thing is, in the National Football League, it always goes forward. If you can win this game, you forget about it and get better next week.
Derek Fenner with the football gets out across the 15-yard line for a gain of about 6 on first down 20 after the first down penalty for Cincinnati. Esera Tuaolo, second-year man out of Oregon State, your arch rivals, makes the stop for Green Bay.
Yeah, that's right. I can remember those. I forgot. Well, I don't think we had a cup. You know, usually when you play the interstate rivalry, you play for a cup or something.
Souvenir of some sort. Yeah.
I don't think that we played for anything. It was just a game.
Second down 13. Esiason way up top and downfield. And Terrell Buckley was in front of Brian Brennan, and that was easy coverage for Buckley on Brennan. There is a speed disparity there.
Very much a disparity. I don't think you're going to find Brian Brennan beating Terrell Buckley on any deep pass. But he may beat him on some underneath pass. That's his forte. He can't. I got a feeling I could go like head-to-head with Brian in about a 40.
I started to say.
Penalty is declined.
Declined. The penalty, which was against the offense, illegal motion, declined by the Packers, who would rather see it go to third down and 14 yards to go for the first down. I think you ignore Brian when he comes back to the huddle and says, I can take Terrell beat. Finner with a pickup of about 4, just getting a little extra punting room for Lee Johnson. And another round of applause for the Packer defense as they do their job this time.
The defense has not played badly today. It's just that the offense hasn't been able to do anything at all. And now we'll get a chance to see Terrell Buckley, the Jim Thorpe of the second half of the century.
Self-proclaimed.
That's right. That's what he says, and I still haven't quite understood it, but I certainly like this guy. He's got a lot of ability and a lot of confidence.
And you like Thorpe, too.
Thorpe was one of my favorites, too. What number was Thorpe?
Early part of the century. Buckley from the 43. Room. Here we go. He gets away from Esiason. And a little of the Deion Sanders style magic for another Seminole, Terrell Buckley. Hey, Jim Thorpe never did it any better than that.
Exciting player, this Terrell Buckley. He turned this crowd on. And he was confident that he was going to do that when we talked to him yesterday at practice. He just knows he's an impact player. He walked up to me and said, you know, I could have covered you.
I don't doubt it.
He is some kind of a player. He got his mother and his sister moved up here. His mother's cooking for him. Said he needs a hometown atmosphere so he can play better. He's playing excellent today.
Terrell Buckley with a 58-yard touchdown punt return. And the Packers are back in the football game again. 12:43 to go. It is 17-10.
This Heisman moment is brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, makers of a full line of quality cars and trucks. Jay Berwanger was nothing short of spectacular at the University of Chicago. He's called a one-man team, and there didn't seem to be anything he couldn't do. In 1935, Berwanger received the first Downtown Athletic Club trophy. A year later, this prestigious award would become known as the Heisman Trophy.
Eclipse, noun. The motion of one heavenly body passing in front of another. An eclipse occurs only with the perfect alignment of arcs and curves and angles. Eclipse, verb. To surpass. To cast in shadow. To leave others behind. The stunning Eclipse from Mitsubishi. The word is getting around.
Castrol GTX is the only leading motor oil that meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown in every grade. This is the only way to get that kind of performance from any other leading brand. Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
It's the Domino's Pizza NFL Spectacular. What are these guys into? Piling it on. And if you're into piling it on, get a Domino's Medium with unlimited toppings now, just $8.99. And pile it on. Nobody knows like Domino's.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's. Call Domino's Pizza right now, and you'll be enjoying our unlimited toppings pizza deal when the game is over.
You got 12 minutes, 43 seconds left in a suddenly electrified Green Bay. Terrell Buckley with the first Packer punt return for a touchdown in quite a while. 58 yards off of the Lee Johnson punt. He gets the Packers to within 17-10 and says, yeah, I knew I could do that. Jackie's kickoff is taken short at the 13-yard line. And that is Eric Ball, the up man who has the football, and Ball is across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. And let's take another look, Ahmad.
Terrell Buckley, he may have surprised a lot of people here in this stadium, but he is not surprising himself. He said yesterday, he said, you know what, I'm like 5 players in one. I can do so many things. And here you see him doing one of them. Watch when he gets in the end zone. He is such a showman. He's in for the touchdown, slams the ball down. After this, he comes up and said, all right, ladies and gentlemen, how about it for me? Huh? For me. Thank you. Thank you.
Give it up for Terrell Buckley. So the suddenly rocked Cincinnati Bengals start from their 33, and Fenner gets the call to quiet the crowd a little bit, get a little yardage before Johnny Holland wraps him up for yet another Green Bay tackle.
And Jimmy, it's just the thing that we were talking about, that you got to stay in contention, stay close enough that you have a chance to win the game. And Buckley has now all of a sudden brought Green Bay up to the point that they have a chance to get back in this football game.
And he's so hot, he's got to cool off on that. He had to put that hat on and the towel over the hat because he's smoking over there. On second down, Brian Brennan has the catch, and Esiason begins to move the Bengals out of the Hammer offense across the 50 to the 49-yard line.
The NFL needs these kind of exciting players. I'm telling you, that was a great return.
Now the coaches will very gently say to him, perhaps Terrell, you should wait and show the football to the crowd after you cross the goal line rather than 10 or 15 yards into the return. So I'm holding it up with one hand.
I think I don't say anything to him.
Maybe not. Fenner with a pickup of 3 on first down to about the 46-yard line. Matt Brock making the stop. You look at David Shula.
And David Shula's strength, I understand, is his just great organizational skills. They say you could, his practices, they're supposed to be an hour and 15. They are an hour and 15. He has everything laid out, and he's really restored the morale to this football team.
Ryan Noble chases Esiason, but Boomer gets it away and throws into the hands of Chuck Cecil. Now, did Cecil come down out of bounds? Yes. But Esiason is hurt. Has the helmet off and is in a supine position. You don't like to see it. Burnell Dent, number 56, and number 90, Tony Bennett, were the 2 pass rushers who were back there ultimately to make contact with Boomer.
Boomer having a lot of time during the course of the day. You see Noble running Boomer down, and just as he lets this ball go, he takes a nice shot right in the solar plexus. I got a feeling that he may have just the wind knocked out of him because he really took a shot.
From Tony Bennett.
Tony Bennett, who wasn't singing.
No, at least for the moment, Ahmad, Tony Bennett leaves Boomer Esiason's heart at the 41-yard line.
That's right. He took a shot right to the chest.
Now, the Bengals are not exactly loaded in the backup quarterback department. You get number 12, Don Hollis, a third-year player out of Rice with very limited experience. And behind him is David Klingler. Klingler, of course, the multi-million-dollar first-round draft choice out of Houston. Hollis, in his career, has had 55 pass attempts. All of them last year.
One of the things, the positive things that if you have to go to Hollis is that they do have that hammer time, that hammer offense where he can rely on his running backs to try to take them down the field. And Boomer's getting up. I think it might have been that he just got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, you saw the coach pointing to the solar plexus. So Boomer may be the second player of the day to have been reacquainted with the location of his solar plexus and its capacity to suddenly remove all air from your system.
One of the worst feelings you could ever have. You would give all the money you own for one little breath of air.
Temporarily.
Temporarily. But it seems so final when it happens.
So Boomer goes to the bench. Hollis comes on and walks into third down, 7 yards to go at the 46-yard line of Green Bay. Pickens to the top of the screen. Brian Noble urging the crowd to get into it now and make some noise on third down. Brennan in motion. Hollis drops straight back. Down the middle, into traffic. Good throw. Caught and wrapped up for first down yardage by number 82, Rodney Holmgren, the veteran tight end. 36, Leroy Butler with the stop. Good target to pick out on 3rd and 7.
Don Hollis with an excellent throw, and that was his second receiver. He backed up and looked over to the right, couldn't find the guy, and fired it over the middle as we see Boomer Esiason. Now that he's got a breather, is back in for the Cincinnati Bengals. Hollis did a fine job on that one play.
Hollis says to himself, well, Rodney's double covered, but he's paid to make this catch. I'll put the ball down there. And he got the first down. So now Esiason returns and gives it to Fenner, and Fenner finds running room down the middle across the 30 to the 29-yard line. Johnny Holland with yet another tackle for Green Bay.
And David Shula, this is what we were talking about last night, this hammer offense. When you get a team on the run like this, you got a 7-point lead. What you want to do now is bring in Fenner and Green and just try to keep the ball and just hammer it home. Just keep the ball control with your running backs, run out the clock, and hopefully close out the win.
Well, it looks like somebody has hammered Fenner's calf for the moment.
He's limping a little bit, still walking on it. Always a good sign. A player can get up and still put some weight on one of those limbs, and I think he'll be fine.
He looks all right as he goes off.
We used to call that walking cool.
Walking cool.
That's right. Nice little stride in your walk.
Not walking tough, baby, just walking cool.
That's right.
Second down, 2 yards to go. Make it a short 3 or a long 2. As Harold Green re-enters the game in place of Fenner. Brennan again in motion. Green with the football. Following his blockers and has first down yardage down to the 26-yard line. Matt Brock made the stop for Green Bay. How do you explain the availability of a Derek Fenner, who led the conference in touchdowns 2 years ago as a Plan B free agent?
I think some clashes with the coaching staff up there in Seattle made Fenner available. He was one of the guys who's got a lot of talent, but a few things happened where Fenner was having time being on time for meetings and things like that. But in talking to David Shula, he has been a great player for this team. Really coming with a lot of enthusiasm, happy to be here and playing very well.
And he's 6'3", 228, got some speed and a little wiggle in him. What a find for Cincinnati. Harold Green gets the ball down to the 22-yard line. Of course, we're talking about how good Fenner's been. He can't crack the starting lineup because this guy has been terrific.
Harold Green, an excellent player. And Dave Shula, I wonder if an older coach would have came up with a different name for this offense. Shula being the young, hip man that he is, comes up with a hammer. I think that's quite appropriate.
Perfect.
Somebody else might have had a Frank Sinatra song or something.
Second down 7. Esiason with another effective play fake. Throws into the flat, and Ball drops it. Wouldn't have gone for much anyway. Johnny Holland was right there with Eric Ball.
Tough throw. It's hard to catch that ball. You got to get it up where the running back has a chance to catch it and run with it. That ball throwing a lot behind him and a lot low.
Boomer, of course, a broadcaster in his own right.
Boomer Esiason used to boom down the field in earlier years. Now he is dinking his way to at least 2 victories, trying to get that third.
The king of the deck. Third down, 6 yards to go for the first down. Need to get the ball to the 15-yard line. There's the offside call. That is probably going to turn it into 3rd and 1. Unless the Packers can convince the officials that they were drawn off.
A lot of pressure here on Green Bay. They've still got to play tough because they're still in this football game. They just got to keep Cincinnati.
Encroachment, defense prior to the snap, number 62, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Keep Cincinnati from scoring a touchdown on this drive, and they can still try to get back and do some damage. Here's a replay. These guys, the play was on 3, they went on 1. Way offsides. I used to hate that. If you're an offensive lineman and the guy on the other side of the ball jumps off sides, that gives the guy in front of you a free chance to just take off on you. Yeah. It's like, please yell at me when you're going to jump off sides.
Let me know. Call it 3rd down 2. It's a short 2. Green with the football, pounds inside, may or may not have it. Needing to get close to the 15-yard line, just outside of it to pick up a first down. Was that Johnny Holland again with the stop? Holland is going to be double figures in tackles today to go with 2 interceptions. He had a total of 4 career interceptions coming into the game.
He'll be scheduling Whirlpool time tomorrow with all those tackles.
And they are short of the first down, so it's going to be 4th down. And Jim Breach will come on to try to hammer this through for Cincinnati. A critical field goal try with 8:16 to go in the game as they try to stretch a touchdown lead to 10 points.
And Boomer wants to get a measurement. Breach not leaving the field, so.
Yeah, because Breach knew.
It's his opportunity to score.
Now last week, the Bengals twice went for it on 4th and 1 in preserving a long drive that ultimately gave them a 21-14 lead against the Los Angeles Raiders. But this is a different situation.
Yes, here to put 3 points up on the board, give them a 20-10 lead, then Green Bay would have to score twice in order to get back and to win the football game. This is a good call here by David Schuler to go for the 3.
Yeah, this is textbook stuff. And the 34-yard field goal attempt by Jim Breach is true and perfect. So well and truly kicked by Breach. 3 more points for the Bengals. They stretch their lead to 20-10 with 8:05 left.
Thought about wearing shoes?
Mitsubishi believes that a luxury car should offer something beyond the usual luxuries. It may be extraordinary power and control, a consummate blend of comfort and performance, or a state-of-the-art 4-wheel drive system. The 3000 GT, the Diamante, the Montero. Lease the luxury car of your choice. Only $399 a month for 36 months. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
Why do you get great service from a MetLife rep? He's got terrific follow-through, answering tough questions. He's fast when it comes to paying claims. He's got lots of drive and power. And he makes neat saves when the going gets rough. It all adds up to advantage. MetLife. Get Met. It pays.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around. By the people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it. By Radio Shack, America's technology store nobody compares. And by Delta Airlines. At Delta, we love to fly, and it shows.
50 pounds of seasoned tenderloins. Come back in about an hour.
No need to cook them either. They just eat them right out of the bag, right? All that was tailgating outside Lambeau Field. I once read a long article, Ahmad, about tailgating outside Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. And these folks here in Green Bay would say, hey, we invented it, not those Minnesotans.
No way. Minnesota, that's where they really used to. Not anymore. There's a mall standing where old Met Stadium used to be.
Off the kick by Lee Johnson, number 87, Jonathan Brooks. Or Robert Brooks, I should say, not Jonathan Brooks. Robert Brooks gets it across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. Flags are down as Brett Favre gets a little final instruction from head coach Mike Holmgren of the Packers and gets ready to come onto the field.
One of the things I've always wanted to do and never had a chance is to tailgate.
Illegal block in the back on the return. Number 38, 10-yard penalty. First down.
I want to rent a Winnebago, go to the game about a day and a half early, sit in there and just cook out some stuff and get ready. And I might not even go into the game. I watch the game on TV.
I can just see you in a Winnebago.
Yeah.
You are Winnebago style all the way. I'd be shocked if you didn't have an endorsement deal with Winnebago sometime in the next year or two.
I'd have my Porsche hooked up to the back of it, though, for the ride home.
Such an endorsement. I'll tell you, with that beard of yours, you get one wool-clad shirt, and you are Mr. Winnebago. I can almost guarantee it.
That's right.
After the penalty, the Pack starts deep in its own territory. Favre throws to Sterling Sharp. Did he hold on?
No, I don't think he had the ball as he hit the ground. It's a pretty nice, accurate pass by Favre, but you see Sterling, just a little slant pattern, gives him a little out move, breaks it into the inside, gets that head turned around, and then just not able to hold on to that ball. I would imagine as these two work more and more together, they will, I think that they'll be quite a duo. Because Favre is looking for Sterling Sharp almost on every pass play.
I'm still getting up the Winnebago. Somebody call the folks at Winnebago and tell him Ahmad thinks he already owns a plaid shirt. If he can find it. On second down and 10, Favre throws in the flat. And Harry Sidney makes the catch and is knocked out of bounds after a gain of about 5. Rod Jones made the hit for the Bengals.
That is a dangerous pass he just threw there, all the way back across the field. If Jones gets up and tries to make a play on there, he has a chance to just run it right back into the end zone.
Third down 6 now for Green Bay. A lot of people's book on Brett Favre coming out of Southern Mississippi. Great arm, no touch. He'll have plenty to learn.
He seems to be developing some touch here. And in this offense, he's got to have touch. It's not about throwing the ball deep. It's about being accurate.
Favre comes out of there, has first down yardage and more. Cross the 30 to the 35-yard line and gets out of bounds. Crowd will love that. Barney Bussey finally ran him out. Pickup of 21 yards for Brett Favre.
Brett Favre showing some speed. He's quite an athlete, and you brought that up earlier. 6'2", 222 pounds, and a man that can really move around. Here, he finds he doesn't have many receivers deep, so he just tucks it under the arm and takes off running and smartly heading towards that sideline.
Grew up down on the coast of Mississippi.
Brett Lorenzo Favre.
In the swamps and the bayous in southern Mississippi. Hattiesburg is a mecca for athletes like Brett Favre. And on first down from the 35, he flips it across the middle. And Harry Sidney has another first down for Green Bay out to midfield. Kevin Walker made the stop from his inside linebacker position for Cincinnati. And they're still not out of it if they could get a touchdown on this drive.
Quickly, yeah. And you think about the offensive system here of Mike Holmgren, and they've never had a quarterback with a big cannon arm. You think about Joe Montana and Steve Young and Bono also. These guys were all very accurate. So that's the thing that Favre has to do. Not so important to fire it deep, but being able to throw that ball short and accurate, like he did on that last play.
Favre looking up top to Sharp. This time he's got the touch. Perfect throw, and Sterling Sharp down to the 17-yard line. A 33-yard pickup. Favre to Sterling Sharp.
We have been talking the whole time about being able to have some touch, being accurate, and Favre lays this ball right out there. Very catchable ball to Sterling Sharp. He's been trying to hit Sharp on that pattern all day. Finally, here in the fourth quarter, they connect on it.
A little touch of chemistry suddenly for the Packers, who, despite the fact that Chris Jackie has missed 2 field goal tries, and despite turnovers and penalties and sputtering on offense and the loss of Mikowski and Favre's entry as the backup quarterback, are still in the game. Favre hits Ed West, and the tight end breaks 1 tackle and falls forward to about the 7-yard line, just short of a first down.
Jim, we have talked about Favre getting better and better and being more and more comfortable in this offense, and I think we're seeing it right here in this drive as you see Favre hit Ed West going back across the green with an excellent pass, very accurate pass, and West doing a heck of a job.
It was Rod Jones who hit West low, and Ricardo McDonald who ultimately wrapped him up. And they make it a first down as West scrambled forward for the first down, so it's first and goal now at the 7. Number 34, Edgar Bennett with the call, and the rookie out of Florida State gets about a yard or two, close to the 5-yard line. Darrell Williams, number 31, the nickelback, making the stop for Cincinnati. Signals from the sidelines going from Ty Detmer to Brett Favre. They are the 2 active quarterbacks now on the Green Bay roster. Mikowski out with a bad ankle sprain, perhaps torn ligaments in the ankle, sustained early in the first half on a hit by Tim Crumry of the Bengals. Bennett in motion. Favre throws down the middle and has a touchdown with Sterling Sharp. Outstanding second effort by one of the strongest wide receivers in the NFL.
And an outstanding drive by Brett Favre, bringing his team all the way down the field with a lot of big plays. Because we talked about it, you got to make plays in order to keep a drive alive, and Favre actually did that. Also talking about Sterling Sharp's ability to run after the ball. After he catches the ball, watch him catch it here, shakes off a tackler, and gets into the end zone.
He shook off the high tackle by Kevin Walker to fall forward into the end zone. Big drive. There were 2 key plays. Favre's 21-yard scramble on third down, and the 33-yard pass to Sterling Sharp. And now Sharp has had the wind knocked out of him, but with Jackie's conversion, it's 20-17 Cincinnati.
Whatever happened to clear investment signals? Real returns can improve while interest rates decline. Consumer spending can increase even as consumer confidence slips. In these dizzying times, it pays to hire an investment firm with a sure sense of balance. Smith Barney. They make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it.
Only Delta gives you more flights from over here to over there. Only Delta flies you non-stop to more cities from over here to over there. In fact, only Delta flies you non-stop to more cities in Europe than all these airlines combined. Delta, we love to fly, and it shows the world over.
Eclipse. Noun. The motion of one heavenly body passing in front of another. An eclipse occurs only with the perfect alignment of arcs and curves and angles. Eclipse. Verb. To surpass. To cast in shadow. To leave others behind. The stunning eclipse from Mitsubishi. The word is getting around.
Next Saturday, the intensity will reach the boiling point as the Purdue Boilermakers battle their upstate rivals, the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame football is home on NBC.
At Lambeau Field, 4 minutes, 11 seconds remaining. Green Bay, on the strength of Brett Favre's arm and legs, goes 88 yards in 8 plays to narrow the Cincinnati margin to 20-17. Eric Ball takes the kickoff and gets it back to the 20-yard line against pretty effective downfield coverage by the Packers. Tim Houck, number 24, down to make the stop. Houck was the man by whom Carl Pickens blew in the first half as Pickens finished up his 95-yard punt return touchdown. And there's a look at Sterling Sharp shortly after the touchdown.
As you look there, he took quite a pounding on that last touchdown. It's either something on his rib, or you see him messing around with his rib cage, the bottom of the rib cage. Now he's on the bench now icing it, but he was walking around. He is not finished. He will not leave this football game.
Not after the physical battle into the end zone that gave him the touchdown that paid off that drive. Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining. On first down, Esiason gives to Harold Green. Green's second effort gets him a first down and 13 yards. What a brilliant run by Harold Green, who quiets a crowd that would have gotten much louder had he been stopped by the initial hit.
That's like that long jump shot that stops the crowd from cheering, wasn't it? I mean, because they had him stopped with no place to go. Just excellent running ability for him to jump outside and get down the field. He's brought down by Matt Brock from the University of Oregon, but a great run to save nothing that Harold Green had.
And Green went over 100 yards with that carry. Now 20 trips, 105 yards in the game for Green. He got away from both Paul and Brock at the line of scrimmage, and Brock kept chasing all the way downfield. On first down now, Esiason throws. And a perfect throw to number 85, Tim McGee, is another Bengal first down, and McGee does Green Bay a favor by stepping out of bounds to stop the clock.
Now the onus is on Cincinnati to see if they can put this game away. I mean, they are coming into this game, they were the better team, and now they have an opportunity to put this game on ice. But Green Bay is coming back strong. They've been playing hard the entire time, and they're in range, but Cincinnati has a chance to close it out.
Packers have another new acquisition on the field. Danny Noonan, signed away from the Cowboys earlier this week, and the Cowboys let him go, is in at nose guard. Harold Green on first down is met and knocked out of bounds by Paul and Noble. Robert Brown with the initial hit on Green, and then Paul and Noble came over to finish him off.
Green Bay trying to preserve the time on the clock, calls a timeout. Noble, one of the more active defenders for Green Bay, always around the tackle.
And always relating to the crowd. He waves his arms a lot, serves as a cheerleader out there to try to keep the crowd in the football game behind Green Bay. Fascinating to watch him do it this week, 5 days after the air was thick with rumors both here and in California that he might be headed west to the Raiders in exchange for Marcus Allen.
I think if you're on a team that's rebuilding, there will be rumors about almost every single one of these players on Green Bay's team that can play. Because if they're rebuilding and they're trying to make trades, the only way you make a trade, you got to trade something to get something in return, and Noble would be one of those guys.
So you take it as a compliment?
You have to take it as a compliment, because at least you can still play. The alternative is even worse, to be waived.
And there's Ron Wolf, the Executive Vice President and General Manager, who is facing the task of trying to upgrade the Green Bay roster position by position over the years. He says he thinks he's got to produce a winner in 2 or 3 years.
I think he's right.
Tough job. They were 4-12 last year. Second down now and 13 for Cincinnati, and what a play in the flat by number 36, Leroy Butler, who was there to greet Eric Bull as the ball arrived.
That is a nightmare. When you run that little flare pass out of the backfield, your first thing you got to do is look in front of you to make sure nobody's coming at you. And right then, you'll see this is oh gosh, that is a hit on Eric Ball. Great timing by Butler.
And you talked about those Packers who can play. Butler is one of them. Number 2 pick in the draft in 1990 for the Pack out of Florida State. Big play now for both teams. Third down, 13 yards to go. Esiason looking and overthrows Pickens badly. Never a chance for that one. Green Bay forces the punt. And you got 2 things out of that if you're Green Bay. You force the punt, and with Esiason throwing the ball well over his receiver, you stop the clock.
Esiason with a lot of time here just overthrows Carl Pickens. And Green Bay with a fine job of defending, not putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but able to play that kind of zone defense back there and keep all the receivers covered.
And you think the crowd's excited? The last time that man touched the football, he went 58 yards for a touchdown.
And it's possible he could do it again. He is Jim Thorpe.
Hey, what would Jim Thorpe have done, right?
Run it back again.
Johnson kicking it toward the sideline. It curls to the middle of the field. Buckley is free again for the moment and now loses the football. Anybody's ball at the 36-yard line. It's going to belong to Cincinnati. And now the coaches have the right to tell him to hold it in both hands, right?
It was exciting. This man, you can't say he is Mr. Excitement. He had a chance to get out of there, but he just didn't cover up the ball enough. And now Green Bay, watch right here, Buckley in a little bit of the crowd now as he tries to break out of it, trying to still get something going. The ball gets popped out. One of the things he's got to realize is look at the clock, look at the situation that his team is in, and the last thing you want to do is give the ball up. You give your chance. I mean, you just gave your chances to win the game away.
And the guy who caught the touchdown pass that presently stands as part of the difference in the ball game, Eric Ball, is the man who fell on the football and recovered it for Cincinnati. So Ball having a big day both out of the regular offensive sets and on special teams for the Bengals.
Just as it looked like the Green Bay Packers were playing themselves into a chance to win this game, they just turn it around and give the ball back to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, now the Bengals use a timeout, which will leave them with 2 remaining. Green Bay has 2 remaining. And it's time not to get discouraged for Green Bay because they're still in the game if they can make a defensive stop here.
That's true, but you know, as young as Mike Holmgren looks, I have a feeling that he's going to age quite a bit between now and the end of this season. Because it's just the frustration has got to be at an all-time high. As we spoke about earlier, in San Francisco, they can do whatever they wanted to. Now they're having trouble doing little things.
Wonder how much older he'll be by next week. When next Sunday, NBC Sports presents an action-packed NFL doubleheader beginning at 12:30 Eastern with NFL Live. Many of you will see a classic football rivalry renewed as comeback kid John Elway and the Denver Broncos face the Cleveland Browns. Others will see the AFC champion Bills clashing against the Patriots. You already heard Ahmad tell you that the Patriots, no matter how weary they may appear and no matter how downtrodden they may be, always play Buffalo tough. In the second half of the doubleheader, some of you see the Steelers against the Packers and others see the Dolphins against the Seahawks. Check your local listings. Holmgren and David Shula watching. On first down, Derek Fenner pounds for about 5 before Leroy Butler makes the stop for Green Bay.
I've always been impressed by the way Derek Fenner can change directions. He's a big, powerful back, but he's always able to change directions and find those little cracks in the front line.
And now the Packers use one of their timeouts to stop the clock at 3 minutes, 4 seconds remaining. So Green Bay will have 1 timeout left.
They've got to hope for a turnover. Somebody's got to make a play, try to cough that ball up, either intercept the ball or get a fumble, but you got to make something happen right here. You can't give up.
Ahmad, this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience.
Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the National Football League is prohibited.
And that's it. Enough said. You heard it here first. 3 minutes, 4 seconds left as you watch David Shula patrolling the sideline for the Bengals. Cincinnati leads 20-17. The Bengals have had various opportunities to make that margin bigger, but have stopped themselves from time to time with penalties and turnovers. Green Bay down 17-3, got back in the ball game on a punt return by Terrell Buckley. And now Cincinnati is trying to ice it with the clock running, under 3 minutes to go, and Derek Fenner having plowed forward for a critical Cincinnati first down. And that was big.
And Green Bay calling a timeout here, and it's their last timeout.
Well, the Packers may have missed their chance right there because they have just taken their last timeout, 2:53 still left. But stopping the Bengals short of that first down would have been their big opportunity to create one more breath of fresh air for the offense.
I don't know if I call timeout right there. I think I may play it tougher and wait to the 2-minute mark and
Go
save that timeout.
Warning, and save that timeout for some time after the 2-minute warning.
But they are in a situation where they had a chance to win a football game. Now they still have a chance, but it's slim.
Holmgren told us yesterday, he said, just sort of as an aside, I envy the rookie coaches who got off to 2-0 starts, referring, of course, to Bill Cowher at Pittsburgh, David Shula at Cincinnati.
And I imagine that those coaches also envy his 5-year contract.
Good point. Bengals trying for a 3-0 start today. There you saw the precedent. In 1990, they started 3-0 and made the playoffs. Fenner goes forward. In fact, of the handful of teams, only 5 teams in the National Football League started off at 3-0 a year ago. All of them made the playoffs, and 4 of them won their divisions. So it is a bright precedent for the Bengals if they can hang another victory on the board today.
If they hang a victory here on the board today, they have won already. They have already matched their win total from last year. You know, we were talking the other day about assistant coaches as opposed to head coaches. I understand that David Shula is an excellent head coach, a much better head coach than he was an assistant coach because of his organizational facilities.
On 2nd down 4, Fenner gets the call, and now the clock will stop for the 2-minute warning as the Bengals face 3rd down. So with Cincinnati leading 20-17, 3rd down 5 coming up. We'll bring you back in a moment to Green Bay.
Mitsubishi believes that a luxury car should offer something beyond the usual luxuries. It may be extraordinary power and control, a consummate blend of comfort and performance, or a state-of-the-art 4-wheel drive system. The 3000 GT, the Diamante, the Montero. Lease the luxury car of your choice. Only $399 a month for 36 months. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
It's the Domino's Pizza NFL Spectacular. What are these guys into? Piling it on. And if you're into piling it on, get a Domino's medium with unlimited toppings now, just $8.99. And pile it on. Nobody knows like Domino's.
I feel good. Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights. American Orient Paul, we're guaranteed 2 years no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Wow!
The Broncos. 3 times they reached the Super Bowl. 3 times at Cleveland's expense in the championship game. The Browns. Beware of these dogs. They're still smart. It's the Miracle Maker John Elway versus the Cleveland Browns from the Dog Pound. An NBC football doubleheader next Sunday.
2 minutes left in Green Bay. David Shula at age 33 looking for his 3rd NFL win as a head coach. Cincinnati leading 20-17, getting ready to run 3rd and 5 as the Packers try to stave them off one last time and get another chance at having the football. Fenner is going to be hauled down a couple yards short of the 1st down. Tony Bennett riding Fenner's back to the turf. And now Jim Breach will come on to try to stretch the lead to 23-17 with under 2 minutes remaining. Packers are still going to have a chance, Ahmad.
Jim Breach, one of the more reliable kickers in the league. I remember when he played for the, I believe he played for the Oakland Raiders. Wait, Breach. A little bit of confusion out there in the field.
Well, Shula may have something up his sleeve here. No timeout has been called. This is an official conference, and now there will be a timeout.
Timeout.
And it's going to be charged
Their
to
second
Cincinnati.
timeout.
So the
This is a
Bengals want time to
40-second
think it over with a
timeout.
minute 10 left.
Radio Shack is America's #1 electronics store. And with more than 80 antennas and hundreds of accessories, Radio Shack is America's #1 antenna store, too. When you buy a Super Color Special TV antenna, Radio Shack has everything you need to make installation easy. Super Color's advanced technology gives you the clearest picture and sound possible.
Hey, great picture, huh, Howie?
Two great antenna values starting at only $24.88, just in time for football. Nobody compares to Radio Shack, America's technology store.
One-time California Golden Bear, one-time Raider Jim Breach getting ready to try to stretch the Cincinnati margin to 23-17 with the clock stopped. A minute 10 remaining in Lambeau Field in Green Bay. And a pitched battle continuing between rookie head coaches David Shula and Mike Holmgren. Breach's numbers on the day, 2 of 2. Remember that Green Bay place kicker Chris Jackie, 78% accurate in his career in the NFL, has missed 2 field goal tries today from makeable distances. Would have helped Green Bay a lot to have those numbers on the board. Breach nails this one. No. Flag down. The kick sailed wide. It hooked dramatically at the end to sail wide of the upright to the left. And the penalty is going to be against Green Bay. This is the kind of thing that will drive a coach nuts.
Snake bit.
If it's against the Green Bay Packers.
We had a false start prior to the snap on the offense, number 60. It is a 5-yard penalty and still the 4th down.
Prior to the snap. So therefore, another opportunity for Breach as the play is ruled dead after the false start before the snap.
And you can see that just that little movement that happened inside the line, and Breach misses it a little bit wide to the left.
Breach appeared to have that one nailed down the center, and it hooked at the end to go past the crossbar. Now he gets another chance from 46 yards out. Packer fans are feeling snake bit. Check it, not 46, 41 yards out. Referee Dick Hancock again.
Please reset the clock to 1 minute and 10 seconds. Thank you.
And give credit to the line judge, Ron Blum, number 83, who was the one who noticed that the clock should have an extra 3 seconds on it. Now Breach from 41. This time it's good. So instead of getting the football back trailing by a field goal, the Packers get it back trailing by 6. They would need the touchdown and the PAT to win.
Here's the reprieve here. You don't expect Jim Breach to miss twice in a row, and you see the relief on the face of David Shula as his Cincinnati Bengals are doing what it takes to win this football game.
And I'm a little surprised at the relative calm with which Holmgren and the Green Bay bench accepted the reprieve for Breach and a chance for him to kick the field goal a second time.
They're rebuilding. They're rebuilding, and they want to play, and they want to play tough, but you know, one of those things, you're in a catch-22 situation when anytime you're rebuilding. And Holmgren is more of a teacher. He's a lot like Bill Walsh. I don't think he gets very active on the sideline. He'd rather spend that time getting his quarterback, Brett Favre, ready to play when they get the ball.
Well, when last Brett Favre had the ball for an extended period of time, he took him 8 plays, 88 yards for the touchdown throw to Sterling Sharp that at that moment got them to within 3. Now the Bengals lead by 6. You're seeing scores of other games. In the Old Spice NFL Live postgame report coming up, we'll take you around the league with a look at significant injuries which have taken place today, of which there have been a bundle. Bob Costas, O.J. Simpson, and special guest Buddy Ryan standing by with that. Bad play, very bad play by Robert Brooks, who just elected to catch a kick inbounds and then step out of bounds with it at the 8-yard line. If he lets it go, they are in much better field position.
He's a rookie. They got a lot of young players on this team that are going to make some crucial mistakes, and that certainly was one of those.
Well, he's a rookie, but that's a bad play at the University of South Carolina and a bad play in high school and anywhere else he's ever played football, Ahmad.
I was just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I know he's a receiver, and you're trying to help him.
I guess so, but that certainly was a bad move on his part.
That's a bad play in midget football, Ahmad. He's not playing for the first time in his life. 1:07 left. Ball is at the 8-yard line. Here, Brett Favre, you want a challenge? Try this one. And Favre completes on first down to Harry Sidney, who gets a little running room and gets out of bounds to stop the clock. You can see the veteran smarts of Sidney. He knew what to do. Ricardo McDonald ran him out for Cincinnati.
Brett Favre certainly has his work cut out for him today. So does this man, Mike Holmgren, who will be the real architect of this drive, calling all the plays.
Second down, 7 for the Pack. Favre unleashes it and gets it to Sterling Sharp out across midfield to the 46-yard line. Rod Jones making the stop for Southern Methodist. Second big catch of the quarter for Sharp. Clock running. Sharp is hurt.
It's the same injury he had when he scored the touchdown. It's a rib injury. Hard to get his hands up over his head, but he did that to make that last catch.
Over the middle, here comes Workman. And now the Packers must use a timeout. No, they don't have one left. Clock running with the ball at the 35. No timeouts remaining. Favre will stop the clock here, and he does.
Favre with his leading receiver, big play man, Sterling Sharp, holding that rib.
What an effort by Sharp.
It's just a very painful injury. Anytime you hurt any of those ribs, but here, he knows it's hurting, but he's still got to reach up and go for that ball and makes that catch and then comes down on the rib again.
It was the safety man, Fernandez Vinson, who was late with the help. That allowed Sharp to run free past Rod Jones down the sideline, and he was hurting before the catch, Ahmad.
Certainly was. It was right after that touchdown play. Now Sharp is on the sideline. Can't help him there.
So with their best receiver out of the game, from the 35, 19 seconds left. Ball pumps, throws, touchdown! Washington State. His first catch of the day. He ran by Rod Jones, who again didn't get help from the safety man. And Brett Favre was right on the money. He pump faked, pushed a blocker out of the way with his hand, and then threw the strike.
This is the most accurate throw on the day by Brett Favre. You see Kittrick Taylor going inside the defender. He's open right there. But you got to thread that needle to get the ball to him. And that's exactly what Brett Favre did. If you get any air into the ball, the safety comes over and knocks it, breaks the play up. But Favre put it right on a line. A perfect pass, a perfect catch by Kittrick Taylor. You see him just put this ball right there. That was excellent throw by Brett Favre. And he knew that he pulled the trigger on that one.
Is there a spark of life in Green Bay?
He's looking for somebody to jump on.
Did Brett Favre wake up an echo or two with that one? Let's see if Chris Jackie can make it pay off. Jackie, who has missed 2 field goals today, now tries to add the extra point. Out of Favre's hold is normal holder Don Mikowski out of the game with the bad ankle, and Jackie knocks it through. Makowski was going to be able to do in Mike Holmgren's new offense.
It's amazing how these looks on these two coaches have changed in the last minute and 7 seconds. Brett Favre so excited. 2 touchdowns on the day, 22 for 37, not to mention a few drops that he had.
And of the 289 yards, Ahmad, the majority of it in 2 fourth-quarter drives.
And he just kept getting better and better as this game went on. And to the Cincinnati Bengals could not put this team out of contention. They just kept staying in it, and that's the man that kept them in it, and Brett Favre.
The kind of resiliency that Don Makowski showed for the Packers in '89, Favre has had it today.
He certainly has, because they had a lot of opportunities to just quit, and they didn't.
Clock running now with 11, 10. And ball goes out of bounds to preserve a little time on the clock for Cincinnati. Eric Bull has been everywhere for the Bengals in the fourth quarter, but has not been enough alone to stave off the rally, which was touched off by the 58-yard punt return that Terrell Buckley produced the second time he touched the football in the NFL.
And it really showed something after he fumbled the ball late in the game. It looked like Green Bay was dead, and Green Bay came right back playing hard and played themselves to a 1-point lead with 10 seconds left to go in the game.
And now Buckley goes in as the ultra-deep back in the Green Bay defense, and the crowd stands and roars as Esiason runs out of the pocket, clock ticking down. Boomer stops it with 2 ticks remaining.
The better move is to throw the ball out of bounds. It takes less time to be able to run all the way to the sideline. You waste time on the clock.
All he got was 11 yards. Another first down to go with the bushel of first downs that the Bengals have accumulated today. And David Shula was so close to going 3-0. I almost had him in the playoffs already. Favre gets red hot and lights the place up. Last shot. Boomer airs it out. There'll be a big crowd for this one. And it's over. Yesterday, Mike Holmgren was wondering how long he would have to wait for his first National Football League victory. He may have despaired a little bit today when starting quarterback Don Makowski went down, but that man that you saw right there a moment ago, Terrell Buckley, he lit the fire, and then Kittrick Taylor caught the winning touchdown pass.
They have got something going here in Green Bay, and they realize with just a few more players, they got a chance to win some football games here.
Veteran Tootie Robbins patting Brett Favre on the head as they walk off after a victory in Green Bay. 24-23 in a comeback over the Bengals.
Oh, what a turnaround.
A sustained standing ovation in historic Lambeau Field for Brett Favre and the Packers.
At the stadium, sports director Tim Hunt is here with all the highlights.
We got lots of highlights today, Lorraine, for a change. Shades of 1989 at Lambeau Field this afternoon. The Packers with an electrifying come-from-behind win over the Cincinnati Bengals. Only today it was Brett Favre working the magic. The man who had all the magic in '89, Don Makowski, was hurt on this play in the first quarter. He has strained ligaments in his left ankle. So Brett Favre came on, and he had an auspicious start on his second series. Favre fumbled, was recovered by Tim Krumrie, setting up a field goal, 3-0 Bengals. A few minutes later, the Packers' Paul McJulian gets off a tremendous punt. Carl Pickens fielded it at the 5, and the guy the Packers tried to trade up to draft last April reversed his field and forget about it. He went 95 yards for the touchdown. It was 10-zip in favor of the Bengals. The Packers, though, got this Chris Jackie 37-yarder before halftime. It was 10-3. Jackie also missed twice today. In the third quarter, another Favre fumble set up another Cincy score. Boomer Esiason hits Eric Ball here from 17 yards out. 17-3, things looking bleak. Then, though, the play that turned the tide. He said he would make something happen, and he did. Top pick, Terrell Buckley, took the punt and literally danced his way to the 58-yard touchdown. All of a sudden, the crowd was into it. It was 17-10. Then after a Bengal field goal, Green Bay put together an 88-yard drive. Favre and Sterling Sharp capped it. Sharp would not be denied on the play, although Sharp suffered an injury to his ribs on the play. 20-17, Packer D held. Packer fans held their breath. Buckley got another chance at a punt return. This time, though, he fumbled. The Bengals recovered. That set up another field goal, and the score 23-17. Buckley looking like the GOAT. But no, the Packers go 92 yards in less than a minute. Favre to Kitrick Taylor from 35 yards out for that incredible game winner. Packers win it 24-23.
We had it all go, everybody go up the field, and Brett looks over the field, and the safety didn't get over to me, obviously. We ran straight down the field, and Brett hit me, and he put the pass.
Ever have a better feeling in your life?
This is a great feeling. I'm so out of it right now, I don't know what to do.
I've been fortunate enough to be a coach on some great teams in San Francisco, but this win, this is obviously the happiest of my life. Not to mention the fact of how it happened.
I was just saying, you know, I hope we can keep it up, you know. It's wearing on my body winning them like that, and I'm sure Mike feels the same way and the rest of these guys, but, you know, we need wins like that to pull this team closer together, and we're going to be a good ball club.
Now, we have been saying we need to score on defense to let the offense know that we are behind them, and once our punt return team accomplished their score, then the offense got juiced up and said, hey, you know, we're back in it, let's go out and try to do something.
And they did something very few fans thought they could. What a win. We'll have more, of course, coming up at 10, all the reaction.
All right, thanks so much, Tim. Well, Sunday afternoon means football, and
beginning as 0-2 as coach of the Green Bay Packers. But life isn't supposed to be this easy or this hard. As they got together at the soon-to-be frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, David Schuller looking to go 3-0, and I'll tell you why. His defense much improved. Of course, Tim Krumrie has always been a fine player. Here he sacks Don Mikowski. Meanwhile, a small fight breaks out. Mikowski is left writhing in pain, ligament damage, left ankle. He would leave the game and will be gone for a long while. So, when Magic comes out, his replacement, the youngster Brett Favre, they acquired from Atlanta. Favre hounded by the Bengal defense, Lamar Rogers with the sack. Then, the rookie Darrell Williams, who's been impressive, the DB, forces the fumble with the Bengals recover. Even when Favre did get rid of the ball, he paid for it. Former 49er Daniel Stubbs nails him after the release, and Mike Holmgren said, wow, I mean, we're 0-2, we got to get going here. Who got going? The second-round draft pick of the Bengals. Carl was not slim picking. 1, 2, 3, 4. What beat Green Bay tacklers? But let's get him go. He turns the corner. Don't tell me that from 95 yards away, he could go all the Tim House. No way! Touchdown. 10-0 the Bengals. But the Packers playing his first game. Their #1 draft pick, Terrell Buckley. Don't tell me. This reminds me of Jim Thorpe. He's going to return it for a touchdown. Early in the fourth quarter, 58 yards. Yeah, I did it. Look, it's me. It's me. My first game, just like Deion did his first game. Buckley does his first game. 17-10 the Bengals. Now it's 20-17 Cincinnati. Leroy Butler did it to Eric Ball, the incomplete pass, and it forces the Bengals to punt. 3:20 to go. Could Terrell Buckley spin the magic again? He certainly gave it his best shot, but he giveth and he taketh away. Forget looking like Jim Thorpe. He looked like Chief Wild Eagle on this return. The Bengals recovered. So, up by 3, since he wants to kick insurance field goal with 1:10 to go. Jim steps into the breach, and he misses a 36-yarder. But false start before the play. Even though it backs him up 5 yards, they get a break. They get another shot, this time a 41-yard field goal. And Breach, who won the game against the Raiders in overtime last week, it's good for 41 yards out. The Bengals lead 23-17, a minute to go. But Brett Favre, bottled up much of the afternoon by the Cincinnati defense, starts him out. From his own 13, under a minute to go, 41 yards to Sterling Sharp. Then with 19 seconds to go, Favre to the former 49er Kitrick Taylor. It's a touchdown. With just seconds left, the Pack is back. They lead 24-23. No longer undefeated is David Schuller. What happened, Tommy?
The safety, Fernandez Benson, is late coming over, and Rod Jones from his corner spot gets well behind Taylor. Last-second completion.
And so the Packers. It took them 3 games, but they finally weaved some magic without the Magic Man. Brett Favre, the hero. The Pack over the Bengals, 24-23. And Tommy, you know, we have talked on game day and certainly in here on primetime that the Bengals' resurgence was due to their defense. They played pretty well for 59 minutes. What happened? How can they let them just go right up the field like almost the length of the field in a minute?
If I told you, I don't know in this first half. But I think seriously, when you get into the last few seconds of a ball game, there's confusion that takes place in coverage at times, especially when you're trying to change your coverage at the line of scrimmage. You look here in the center of the field, the Bengals appear to be in man coverage. But right there, Rod Jones at his corner spot is still looking back to the quarterback, giving you the impression that he thinks it's zone. He's looking for safety help, but Vincent can only give that help late because he's trying to cover all over the football field. You make those kind of mistakes, and that's what happens when people try to play prevent. You're going to lose some ball games at the end.
What does prevent defense do?
It prevents you from winning ball games.
Well, that's what happened today to the Bengals. So Holmgren gets his first win, and David Chula gets his first loss. And I'll tell you what, we said it took the Pack a while to get going. How about their first 11 quarters? Actually 12, because they played an overtime game. 26 points. In the fourth quarter today, 21 points. They're catching on. That Holmgren offense. And Terrell Buckley returns punts every now and then. We've got plenty to show you, including a showdown
with all those great highlights.
Oh, man, there were plenty of highlights, Lorene. The Cardiac Pack is back. Shades of 1989 today. Things looked bleak for a long time at Lambeau, but when the going got tough, the Packers got going, and it turned into an electrifying win over Cincinnati.
They played their hearts out and battled, ran uphill the whole game. And hung in there, and we got it at the end. So it's a wonderful, wonderful win.
It started anything but wonderfully for the Packers. In the first quarter, Don Mikowski strained ligaments in his left ankle on this play. And Brett Favre was called to duty.
I was shaking, put it that way. Felt like it, yeah, I was shaking. Felt like I took a laxative. But it, Thank God I held it till afterwards.
Favre had trouble holding the ball early. He fumbled in his first two series. Tim Crumry recovered the second, setting up a field goal, 3-0 Bengals. It's later what could have been a crushing blow to the Packers. Paul McJulian's punt was fielded at the 5 by Carl Pickens, and the guy Green Bay tried to trade up to draft just last April reversed his field, and Pickens went 95 yards to pay dirt. It was 10-0, 10-3 at halftime. In the third quarter, after another Favre fumble, Boomer Esiason hit Eric Ball from 17 yards out, and Cincinnati was up 17-3. Early in the fourth quarter, though, the play that turned the game around. He said all week he'd make something happen, and Terrell Buckley did just that. Buckley juked and danced his way 58 yards for a punt return touchdown, taunting Cincinnati's punter a little on the way. And what did Holmgren say to Terrell?
He said, great job. Don't hold the ball out, so wait till you get to the 10 and stick it out.
He said wait till you get to the end zone.
Yeah, well, 10 end zone to me.
After Buckley's run, the Bengals added a field goal. Then the Packers drove 88 yards. Favre and Sterling Sharp capped the drive from 5 yards out. It was 20-17 with 4:11 to play. Then the defense held, and Buckley got another chance at glory. But in an instant, Buckley went from superhuman to human. He fumbled, and the Bengals had it at the Packer 35. Again, though, the defense held, and Cincinnati had to settle for a field goal with 1:07 left.
Well, I think this defense is, we're gaining a lot of confidence as the season goes along, and we're starting to believe in the things we're doing and the guys next to us, and I think that's the big key.
The Packer offense started its final fateful drive at its own 8. Favre hit Sterling Sharp for 42 yards. And moments later, on basically the same play, it was Favre to Kitrick Taylor. 35 yards and bedlam at Lambeau Field. The Packers with the come-from-behind 24-23 win.
We had it all go, everybody go up the field, and Brett looks over the field, and the safety didn't get over to me, obviously. He ran straight down the field, and Brett hit me. He was perfect pass.
Ever have a better feeling in your life?
This is a great feeling. I'm so out of it right now, I don't know what to do.
I was scared I was going to throw it about halfway up the seats. And when I threw it, I closed my eyes, and I was just listening for a cheer. When I heard it, I said, either we got a touchdown or we're close. And, I saw Coach Holmgren. That's the first time I've ever seen him that excited. He may have took a laxative after that one, too.
For the guys to hang in there in this game today and pull it out at the end, I think it really will help. And I think it's a good first step,
Yeah, we know it's just a first step, but it's the type of win you can build on. Pittsburgh Steelers are up next Sunday at Lambeau, and we're going to have some fun tomorrow night on the Mike Holmgren Show. It starts right here at 7:30, and he is going to be in a great mood.
Oh, yeah, won't have problems with that.
Nope.
Thank you, Tim.
We had a long ways to go, but, we had nothing to lose. We'd fought our way back that far. Why give up now? And that's what the guys were saying.
I see they had 2 picks. Another punt return for nice yardage, so I still need a lot of work.
As a veteran player, you know, you just got to try to come and make with big plays. And, you know, our defense has been struggling here lately. And that's what we have to do to stay in the game, is to come up with turnovers and big plays.
Well, I don't know what's next. You know, it's always something. Something's always, you know. But, yeah, I'm kind of disgusted with it being injured, you know.
With this win, this is obviously the happiest of my life. Not to mention the fact of how it happened. They played their hearts out and battled, ran uphill the whole game. And hung in there and hung in there and got it at the end. So it's a wonderful, wonderful win.
And entertaining. Harry Sidney will join Paul Rudy on Sports Extra at the end of the show. And John Yurkovich will be our guest on Pecker Locker Room tomorrow night. Okay, thank you very much.
I felt like, yeah, I was shaking. Felt like I took a laxative, but it's, you know. Thank God I held it till afterwards.
For a while there, no, never mind. Let's just say Brett was not his regular self for the first 3 quarters. Nothing seemed to go right. The Packers committed 7 fumbles, lost 3, and missed 2 field goals. Cincinnati, meanwhile, wasn't much better, but they did get a couple of big plays. One from punt returner Carl Pickens, who made Bengal history with a stunning 95-yard punt return. 10-0 Cincinnati. The Bengals made it 17-3 in the 3rd quarter when Boomer Esiason hit Eric Ball from 17 yards out. It looked like another route was on. Until it came early in the 4th quarter. Terrell Buckley supplied the jumper cables. His 53-yard punt return got the Packers right back into the ball game.
Well, I just leave things in the Lord's hand. I'm a religious guy, and I just try to prepare myself during the week and do the things the right way, and I let the Lord take care of everything.
That was a turning point in the game. We needed, you know, it's no secret we were struggling offensively, and the defense was keeping us in the game. But when Terrell came in and returned that punt, you know, it was a new lease on life.
The Bengals came right back with a field goal, but that new lease on life was what Brett Favre needed to get his motor running. He hit Sterling Sharp twice in a key drive that pulled the Packers to within 3, 20-17, with 4:11 still to play. The defense did its job, stopping Cincinnati, which set up Terrell Buckley's 2nd big play of the game. You could just feel the air come out of Lambeau Field when Terrell Buckley fumbled this punt return. But Packer fans are going to learn he's not a guy that's going to play it close to the vest.
I played to win. I caught the ball, did what I normally do.
The Bengals got 3 out of the turnover, led by 6 with just 1:07 to play. That's when the Packers finally got it in gear. The first play was a simple one to Harry Sidney in the flat. But from there, Brett Favre put it in overdrive, hitting Sterling Sharp along the sideline for 42 yards, the Packers' longest play of the season thus far. 3 plays later, with 15 ticks left, Kittrick Taylor took it in stride and into the end zone. The Packers win their first game of the season, 24-23 the final.
That last ball was scared I was going to throw it about halfway up in the seats. And when I threw it, I closed my eyes, and I was just listening for a cheer. And when I heard it, I said, you know, either we got a touchdown or we're close. And, you know, I saw Coach Holmgren. That's the first time I've ever seen him that excited. You know, he may have took the laxative after that one, too.
Brett Favre's talking a lot of laxatives tonight.
It was a great game.
The Mike Holmgren Show. Brought to you.
Show. A man with a spring in his step, a smile on his face. Have you come off of cloud 9 yet?
Not quite yet. I don't have to do that until I start preparing for Pittsburgh in about, well, in a couple days.
Yeah.
So I feel great, Tim. It's a lot easier on Mondays after the game when you win.
Was there ever any doubt that you would win that game?
I wasn't worried.
No.
I know you weren't worried.
No, I wasn't worried a bit. You looked concerned maybe on the sideline. Not worried, but concerned. In all seriousness, in that last drive, I've heard people talk about how you kept your cool, and maybe that went to the team. Was that difficult for you, rookie head coach, in a tough spot like that?
Well, at that point, no. I think Steve Mariucci had done a good job in preparing the staff and the players for what we could expect in a prevent situation, just in exactly that situation. So we felt we knew what coverage we were going to get. So I got Brett aside and said, these are the 5 plays that we have. And it's a 2-minute, you have no timeouts, so we didn't have many choices. But go call these 5 plays. And fortunately, you know, Cincinnati was in that look, and he threw the ball well, and we caught the ball.
He kept his cool, the line kept their cool. Everyone seemed to keep their wits about them. You win the game. Now, what effect does that have on this football team?
Well, I'm hoping, Tim, that it has a great effect on it. More than just the win. It's how we won and the fact that we came back to win. And when a team can do that, it can become a contagious thing. That you do it once, that means you can do it again. If you do it twice, now they believe you do it every time. And that's what we're talking about here as far as getting that mindset pointed in a different direction.
We've got some highlights, and there were plenty of highlights, although the first highlight on the reel is kind of a low light. Early on in the game, you lose quarterback Don Mikowski with strained ligaments.
That was a shame because Don had a great week of practice, and he was ready for a good football game. And I don't know what the situation is right now. I'm hoping he comes back quickly.
They came up with a huge play right here, the 95-yard punt return.
Well, Carl Pickens, who was there, a very high draft pick for them, and who we really liked coming out. I mean, an outstanding player from the University of Tennessee. Just jitterbugs around. We had 4 or 5 people miss, and he makes a big play for them.
Speaking of big plays, you had one promised earlier in the week by Terrell Buckley, and he delivered.
He sure did. I was the happiest guy in the stadium when he did this. A great punt return. This is what he can do. He's an exciting football player.
That play turned the game around. You guys got momentum. You drive down here and you score.
Sterling makes a tough catch inside. We're down in close, and he makes that play.
And this is the play on the drive in the last minute.
Brett pumped there inside and then hit Kittrick on the outside, and Kittrick makes a very tough catch. I mean, the ball's right there, but the pressure on that young man to make that play. And Kittrick hasn't had a lot of practice time, a lot of reps. But he made the big play, and that's what we talk about to the team all the time. When you get in a position to make the play, you got to make the play, and that was the difference in yesterday's game.
Brett said he turned around after that play and said he's never seen you so happy. It looks like you had taken a laxative, he said.
You know, Brett will surprise you on the field, and now I'm surprised by what he says. I'm going to chat with him about that comment. I was excited. He was right. I was excited. I was as happy as I've ever been as a coach. But the game wasn't over. We still had a few seconds to play, and, you know, those last 15 seconds were as long as any 15 I've ever been involved with.
And you got your first Gatorade bath when that was over, and I know you're trying to figure out who the culprits were, right?
That was unbelievable. Here I'm trying to enjoy the game, and I get pelted. And I will find out. I know you know, but you're not going to tell me.
That's right. I can't do that. It's you know, confidentiality type of situation.
I know the one number I saw started with a 5, so we don't. I've narrowed it down that far, and now I'll find out.
No, well, the source will forever be protected as far as I'm concerned. Now we've got some key plays. We showed you the highlights, but there were plays that led up, made those highlights possible, and we begin with one right before Terrell Buckley's punt return. He had man-to-man coverage and made a big play to force the punt.
Well, Terrell's reputation out of college was that he will gamble. And so Cincinnati did a smart thing that tried to boomer pumps there and tried to get him to bite, but he didn't. He had perfect position here. And really, at the time, I thought it might have been offensive pass interference. But, you know, I'm looking at it, I'm absolutely biased, you know, in that situation.
You know, if they make that play, though, if Terrell does bite and they make that play, that game could have been over right there.
Sure. No question about it.
Key play number 2 on the Bengals' last drive, speaking of the game possibly being over. If they score a touchdown here, they put the game away, basically.
Well, our defense had to stop them. You see Adrian Young keeping outside, forcing the play back inside, and then our inside people make the play, Tony Bennett and the rest of those fellas. So that was a good team defense, and we needed it right at that point.
Okay, they got the field goal. They're up by 6. Then you have to start from deep in a hole at your own 8-yard line. One play, our key play number 3, got you out of that hole.
That's right. Brett drops back to pass right here, and we sent 4 receivers down the field against the look that we expected, and he throws it to Sterling right along the sideline here. Sterling makes a great catch. If he could have caught that ball right in stride, maybe he would have scored on that play. But as it was, he had to bend around just a little bit, and I think it was that play where he hurt his ribs just a little bit because he caught it kind of in an awkward position, and he came down, I think, maybe on the football.
But he's a tough guy, so you expect to have him ready for Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think Sterling will be ready. He's going to be sore. And, you know, with ribs, quarterbacks usually get the ribs. So there's not much you can do except wrap them and immobilize them. And then if the player can tolerate the pain, you know, usually they can play a little bit.
Okay. When we come back on the Mike Holmgren Show, we will be joined by a player guest, the center of attention, James Campen, will join us right after this. And you did when that gun went off?
There hasn't been many in my career. That was a terrific win for us. We're very happy.
Now, it seemed in that last drive that the offense came out, you guys had fire in your eyes. Tell me what was going on out on the field.
Well, before the punt that Terrell had, we were all counting on going back to the Minnesota game. It was 20-17. We were all talking there saying, if this happens again, we're not going in overtime. So we had in our minds that we were going to score 6 points and let Chris kick the winning field goal, or extra point actually. So when they got the field goal, it didn't really bring us down to a low point. We already had it set in our mind that we were going to score a touchdown and win the game, so we were pretty high from that.
The line blocked tremendously. I don't think Brett got touched in that final drive.
Well, I think our conditioning was better than the other teams at that point. They gave us good push all day for 3 quarters, but I truly believe in the 4th quarter and obviously in the last 2 drives when we were in a more of a hurry-up tempo, I feel like we were better conditioned than they were. They didn't seem to come as hard as they were. They were trying just as hard, but we were in better condition than they were.
That has to be great for you to hear, Coach, the conditioning, you guys work so hard on it.
Well, like I kind of tease the big guys all the time that they get a little extra running after practice and be in good shape. We've talked a lot about the 4th quarter being ours. Now, to do that, you have to be in great condition. And to hear Jimmy talk about this, it makes me happy. And it's a great credit to Kent Johnson, our strength and conditioning coach, as well.
All right, James, we have some videotape of you in action against the Bengals. If you could, just tell us what you're seeing. You had a fine game. The offensive line played well for the most part. Tell us what we're seeing here.
This is a G screen left. Usually I am the one leading the screen out to where Rich is on the numbers. However, the nose guard got into a gap situation where I felt it was better for me to take him over and let Rich run out there and make a block. He's used to running out there and blocking those small guys better than I am. So actually, it was an easier play for me to stay in the middle and hang on. This next play is a pass play, and we had Crumway on me, and Rich came over and gave him a pretty good poke in the ribs. This next play is a sweep play to the right. I think we needed a couple yards to get the first down. Had a lot of people out there leading the ball carrier when we got the first down. That was a big play for us.
Yeah, it was a game of big plays and swinging emotions. I think afterwards we talked and you said you had never been in a game with so many peaks and valleys. Is that hard to take?
Yeah, it was very, very hard. It was up and down, and a lot of highs and lows. But I think that is a true test of the character and the guys in that locker room, the coaches and players in that locker room. No one gave up, and you can surely, it means more to me than just winning a football game. Knowing the guys that are playing next to you, that you can count on one another when times get tough, when things are up and down like that. The win is sure nice, but I know in the future this game will carry a lot more weight than it does in just the win column today.
We keep hearing about character. That word came up in the locker room 1,000 times. It's come up here. It built some character, didn't it?
Sure it did, and that's what I've been talking to the team about that a lot, from day one. And it really starts in the middle. The center, and Jim makes a lot of calls, and kind of is the quarterback of that line inside. And, I need him. I need his leadership. And when you talk about character, it starts with this man right here.
Boy, that's high praise, huh, Jimmy? But it's also, there's some pressure inherent there in the calls and in the leadership, I would imagine.
Well, a lot of times they give you different fronts and different defenses to look at, and I have to make the adjustments and all, but I have a pretty good veteran group around me, so it's relatively easy with those guys around me.
All right, Jimmy, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
James Campen. When we come back, we will talk about the quarterbacks with the Packer. Thank you for coming in, Steve.
Nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Now, first thing I want to talk about is Mike in San Francisco. Everyone was talking about him when Young came in for Montana and Bono came in for Young, and they played so great. You have to feel pretty good about what transpired yesterday. Your starter went down, and second guy came in different.
Well, we feel good about the 4th quarter. It was rough sledding for 3 quarters, as you know, and then things began to click. I think the punt return helped us, helped the crowd come alive, lifted our team a little bit, and then Brett put those last 2 drives together and came out with the win. But it was an exciting finish.
Young quarterback needs a game like that, I would imagine, for confidence purposes.
It was a good confidence builder for Brett, as well as the rest of the team. I think now they believe a little bit more in him and in his abilities. He hasn't been in there much. Last year didn't get a chance to play at all, and now this year not much. So he got his feet wet and grew up a little bit.
Coach, a quarterback coach following your footsteps a little bit. That was your job, basically offensive coordinator, but you love coaching those quarterbacks out in San Francisco.
I really did, and that might be the hardest thing Steve has to do, is listen to me all the time, because really, I told him this, and he knew this when I hired him. But that's the most fun thing for me to do, is coach the quarterbacks. Yet he is my quarterback coach, and a good one. But I can't help but stick my nose in there, and sometimes it frustrates him, I know, but he knows my heart is in the right place. I trust.
Let's talk about some nuts and bolts here, some things you do on the field with the quarterbacks. The big change here, I think, is the drop back, what the quarterback does once he has the football.
Well, our system is a little bit different than it's been in the past here. We drop back 3, 5, and 7 steps, more 3 and 5 than they've done here in the past. But not only that, we like to sprint the quarterback out, half roll, play action, drop straight back, play action, and get him out of the pocket. So it makes it difficult for the defense to know where the quarterback's going to throw the football. We get rid of the ball early, and hopefully that allows us to throw a higher completion percentage, gets the ball out quickly so the quarterback doesn't take as many hits, and that's the system. And we're getting better at it. We're nowhere near where we want to be, but it's coming each week.
We have some videotape to kind of illustrate what you're talking about as far as a 7-step drop, to show the fans what a 7-step drop is as opposed to a 3-step drop. Now, this was last year, and you have some of this, right? Some 7 steps?
Sure. We still go back 7 steps, and when you do this, you're throwing the ball up the field. And normally, they're not as high percentage throws as you get with the 3 and 5. This is a 3-step drop that Brett's going to throw here to Sterling in the game. And we probably threw 6 or 8 of these type of throws this week, and of course with the 5-step drop, that's a real high percentage of our offense.
And as you mentioned, the play action fake is an important part. When you do a 5 or a 7-step drop, sometimes to take the heat off, is that what the play fake's all about?
Sure. You know, we want to, as Steve mentioned, we want to make sure the defense can't just tie into where the quarterback's set point is going to be. So we're going to try and change that, and even though a particular rollout or sprint out pass might be a 4-yard or 5-yard play for us, I think the benefit of that not only is the play itself, but where the quarterback is going to be and how it affects the defense.
All right. Steve Mariucci, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. When we come back in the Mike Holmgren Show, it's time for the Packer Insider. We'll take an up-close look at the scouting department at 1265 Lombardi Avenue. That's next. People never see them. They're behind the scenes, but their job is integral, isn't that?
Yeah, it's the lifeblood, really, of your football team, because the draft is how you get better, really, over the long haul. Your first 3, 4, 5 picks, and maybe a couple later, have to contribute to your football team, and that's where your scouts come in, and then Ron Wolf, of course, in control of all of that. But it's vitally important.
And as I said, you fans never get to see it, but you do today, courtesy of the Mike Holmgren Show and the Carrier Packer Insider. Dennis Krause takes you behind the scenes to take a look at the Packer scouting department.
Step inside for a rare peek at the Packer draft room.
This is the board you actually look at during the draft, or explain what this is?
Right. This board right here is actually how the draft went.
We got here probably an exact height.
Right.
Weight.
Right.
This is what?
That's his actual 40 time, and the A is artificial turf. Then that's his test score from his aptitude test they give, date of birth, and where he was picked.
Far from the glory of the playing field, scouting administrator Brian Broaddus and the Packer scouts toil away in near obscurity under the guidance of general manager Ron Wolf.
My job is to find players and organize our scouts so that we can evaluate players. And I think I always try and stay a year ahead. And that's going to be my focus. I've got to find out who the Steve Ettmans and the Quentin Coriots and those guys are this year that can help the Green Bay Packers in the '93 season. We work anywhere from 12 to 15 hours a day, just making sure information that we get in from the road goes into our computer, and then I take the information and get it back out to our scouts and get it to Ron so they can make their evaluations at these schools.
Using videotape and computers as tools, the scouts try to turn information about potential into reality. The job is getting tougher. Angry about losing underclassmen to the NFL, the majority of college football coaches are placing strict new limits on NFL scouts, most notably allowing them to visit campuses only in October.
That means you only get one shot at them, and then you have to move on, whereas you might have got 3 or 4 shots during the year to visit. So it's important that the one time that we're in there, we get the best information we can, and then I got to take that information and get it back to our scouts and make our evaluations from that. But it is very important.
And I know there are some coaches that are extremely upset because you start taking sophomores and juniors out, and that always bothers people. Not so much the guys that are your first round pick, because they're pretty much set up. It's a guy that throws his hat into the ring and thinks he's going to be a high pick, and maybe he isn't picked.
For the Mike Holmgren Show, I'm Dennis Krause.
All right, thanks, Dennis. Now it's your turn, the fans' turn, to ask the coach some questions. And the first Ask the Coach question comes to us from Dan Sullivan from Appleton. Dan?
I'm just wondering if there's any halfback option plays in the offense this year.
Dan, we have to look at that. You know, every halfback I've ever had has told me he can throw the ball. And so we're going to have a little tryout, and we're going to see who's the best, and we might give it a shot. But they're not always telling you the truth in that situation. Some of them can't throw.
Now, speaking of that, Sterling Sharp can throw a little bit. He's your emergency quarterback, is he not? If it ever came to that, would Sterling be the guy that you'd put in at quarterback?
Sterling probably would be our emergency quarterback. I've always had a punter or somebody with about 10 plays, just in case, you know, the bottom fell out. But because of the new rule and you can play that third quarterback, it's not quite as crucial as it used to be.
Okay, Ask the Coach question number 2 from Sherry Hudson, also from Appleton. Sherry.
Coach, we were wondering whether the former players that came in from San Francisco have brought a winning attitude to the team.
Sherry, the players that we brought in, Sanjay Beach and Harry Sidney, I think helped the team that way. I think they had, they've won, they've gone to Super Bowls, but really they're just a very, very small part of this football team, and the attitude on the football team right now is great, and I'm proud of the way that they're approaching the season.
All right, question number 3, Kevin Lucas from Green Bay. Kevin.
Okay, Coach, I got the Packer yearbook, and I saw the picture of your family in there, and I was just kind of wondering, are your daughters single?
Kevin, my daughters will not be allowed to date until they're 25 years old, so don't even think about it. They are single, yes.
I know, Kevin. Keep them away from Kevin. When we come back, we'll take a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. A Look Ahead is next on the Mike Holmgren Show. FC team, another new coach and another undefeated team coming to Lambeau Field with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I know Bill Cowher has done a great job there in getting them off to a fast start. They're 3-0, playing great defense. They've always played great defense, and I think they're getting solid play from their quarterback. It'll be another tough test, no question about it.
But the kind that you look forward to and relish, I'm sure. You knocked one coach from the ranks of the unbeaten. It'd be nice to do it again, wouldn't it?
Hey, Tim, I think that we're going to be competitive now for the rest of the season and play hard all the way. And the Pittsburgh Steelers game will be no different. Now, we're playing a good football team. We know that. But I think we're pretty good ourselves.
All right. I think so, too. I mean, you proved something to a lot of people, I think, on Sunday. That's it for the Mike Holmgren Show. Don't forget the Pittsburgh Steelers game, a 3 o'clock start at Lambeau Field. We'll see you next week to talk about it.
The Mike Holmgren Show has been brought to you by Cold Filtered Pabst Genuine Draft, the great taste that never fades. Clemens Sausage, easily the best. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Coach's Wardrobe and Guest Certificates provided by Putzer's Big and Tall Stores. Furniture courtesy of New Office Supply. Be listening Tuesday morning at 7:45 to win a pair of Packer tickets on 101 WIXX-FM and 1360 WGEE AM.
0-2, they are very unhappy about that. And Alan, hard to believe the Giants at 0-2 are being written off by a lot of people. If they lose this game tonight, only one season and 2 games removed from their dramatic Super Bowl win over Buffalo.
Frank, I think the Giants are an aging team on the verge of transition. The question thus becomes, is there one last hurrah left for the current crop? Think of it this way. If they win tonight, they're not in that bad a shape. 1-2 after 2 losses to 2 very good teams, an off week next week, and a very soft schedule in October. If they lose tonight, you can expect that transition to start right away, and the veteran players know it.
and expected. So a big game for the Giants tonight against the Bears, who come in 1-1. Dan, how do they look to you after 2 weeks?
Well, I don't think this is a last hurrah football team, Al, like you're talking about the Giants. But when you think back to the powerhouse Bear teams of the mid-'80s, I think names like McMahon and Payton come to mind, and you think offense. But really, those teams were generated and powered by their defense. Now, uncharacteristically for the Bears, in their first 2 games this year, they've given up 6 plays of 40 yards or more. If the Bears can tighten things up defensively, I'll be real surprised if they're not a playoff team again here in 1992.
Big crowd at Soldier Field. Matt Barr ready to put it in the air as the Chicago Bears get set to receive the opening kickoff. Dennis Gentry and Mark Green at the goal line, ready to accept Barr's kick. And here we go from Chicago. As the kick floats down to the 7-yard line, this is Mark Green straight up the middle and hit hard at the 22. And that's where the Bears will begin. Jim Harbaugh, who started every game for the Bears last year, and that's the first time it's been done in a Chicago uniform by a quarterback in a decade, has Neil Anderson and Brad Muster back of him. Davis and Waddle are the wideouts. Keith Jennings is the tight end. The offensive line, they start a rookie Troy Ozine at left tackle, and he'll see a lot of Taylor tonight. Then Wojciechowski, Fontenot is the center. Hilgenberg, as you know, traded to Cleveland. Thayer and Van Horn on the right side. 1st and 10, Chicago at the 22-yard line. Jennings in motion. And they begin with a play fake. Good protection for Harbaugh, and a wide open Jennings making the catch and getting the first down as he picks up 13. The Giant defense now, and they have given up more points through the first 2 weeks than any other team in the league. Dorsey, Washington, and Fox, they're really hurting there with Leonard Marshall missing. Banks, Johnson, Diassi, and Taylor are the linebackers. And then Collins and Williams on the corners. Walls and Jackson are the safeties. Myron Guyton is finished for most of the season with back surgery. We mentioned Marshall, who had arthroscopic surgery on his knee, not here. And Eric Howard is hurting and can only play sparingly tonight at nose tackle. With Morris in motion, here's Anderson to the right side. He gets turned in, and he's tackled near the line of scrimmage. Greg Jackson, number 47, coming up to make the initial contact. There is a look at Eric Howard, a big key man for them, the nose tackle, stuffing the run and all of that, but a guy who can only play maybe a third of the time tonight. Eric is very tough against the run. A key man probably for the Giants missing tonight. You touched on it, is Leonard Marshall. He works so well with Lawrence Taylor over the right side, not only against the run, but in their different pass deals, and he will not be here. He's back in New York watching. 2nd down and 11. Taylor gets blocked, but somehow still gets involved in the play as Brad Muster was the ball carrier, and Taylor pays the price. So the last sight